Look in the mirror. Now, imagine yourself exactly 14 days from today. That puffiness around your eyes, gone. That stubborn bloating in your cheeks that hides your natural bone structure, dissolved. Your jawline looks sharper. Your skin has a subtle glow it hasn't had in years. And for the first time in a long time, the brain fog has lifted, leaving you with a mind that feels like it just received a massive hardware upgrade. Most people tell you to quit sugar because it is bad for you, or because you want to lose a few pounds. But we are not here to talk about a simple diet. We are talking about a total biological reboot. What if I told you that the most dramatic changes in the first 48 hours have nothing to do with your waistline and everything to do with an organ you probably haven't even thought about today? I am talking about your kidneys. The very moment you stop feeding the sugar habit, a silent but powerful chain reaction begins deep within your body. It is a transformation so immediate that it changes the way your clothes fit and how your face looks before you've even burned a single gram of fat. Over the next 14 days, your body is going to go through a series of intense scientific stages. You will experience a withdrawal that feels like a battle for your soul, a metabolic switch where your liver learns to create its own clean energy, and finally, a cellular rebirth where your skin and brain begin to function at their peak. You are not just quitting a sweetener. You are reclaiming your biological freedom. You are about to see what your body is truly capable of when it is no longer being suffocated by constant spikes of insulin. So, are you ready to see the real you? Let's walk through what actually happens, hour by hour, as we dive into the first 3 days of your journey. The first 72 hours are not a test of your stomach. They are a test of your will. As you move through day 1, you might feel a sense of pride, but beneath the surface, your brain is starting to panic. For years, sugar has acted as a master key, constantly unlocking the floodgates of dopamine in your reward center. This isn't just about calories. It is about a high that your brain has come to rely on just to feel normal. By the evening of the first day, the honeymoon phase ends. Your dopamine levels begin to crater. The nucleus accumbens, the pleasure headquarters of your brain, suddenly goes quiet. It is as if someone dimmed the lights in a room that used to be vibrant and loud. This is when the irritability kicks in. You find yourself snapping at loved ones or feeling a strange, hollow sense of sadness. You aren't depressed. You are recalibrating. Then comes day 2, and with it, the phenomenon scientists call hedonic hunger. This is perhaps the most deceptive part of the journey. Your stomach is full. Your body has plenty of stored energy, and yet your brain is screaming. It is a phantom hunger, an emotional demand for that familiar surge of sweetness. Your mind will try to bargain with you. It will tell you that just one bite won't hurt, or that you need sugar to focus. But look closer at what's happening. Harvard researchers have found that frequent sugar intake actually dulls your dopamine receptors. You've been chasing a high that was getting harder and harder to reach. Now, because you've stopped the supply, those receptors are finally waking up. They are regaining their sensitivity. That intense discomfort you feel? That's not a sign of weakness. It's the sound of your neural circuits being rewired for the first time in years. By day 3, the physical symptoms usually peak. You might feel a dull throb behind your eyes or a heaviness in your limbs. This is the neurological price of freedom. Your body is clearing out the last of its easy access fuel, and your brain is throwing a tantrum because it hasn't yet learned how to use anything else. You might feel restless. You might even find it hard to sleep. But remember this: the stronger the craving feels, the more aggressively your brain is repairing itself. Every time you say no to that phantom hunger, you are physically shrinking the addiction pathways and strengthening your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logic and self-control. You are moving through the fire, but you are not burning. You are being forged. Hang on, because while your brain is fighting this war, your kidneys are quietly preparing for a massive breakthrough that will change everything you see in the mirror tomorrow. As you wake up on day 4, something feels different. You look in the bathroom mirror and notice that the person staring back looks lighter. The puffiness under your eyes has softened. Your jawline, which may have felt hidden for months, is starting to emerge from the shadows. This isn't magic. It is the result of your kidneys finally being allowed to do their job. For years, high sugar intake kept your insulin levels constantly spiked. And insulin is a hidden master of fluid retention. It signals your kidneys to hold onto sodium with a death grip. And where sodium goes, water follows. You haven't just been carrying fat. You've been carrying a literal reservoir of trapped water around your face, your ankles, and your midsection. But now, because you've stayed strong through the first 3 days, your insulin has finally dropped to its lowest point in a long time. Your kidneys interpret this drop as a green light to release the pressure. They open the floodgates. This is the Great Flush. On day 5, you will likely notice the scale moving rapidly. You might lose 2, 3, or even 5 pounds in a matter of days. While this isn't fat loss yet, don't dismiss it. This is your metabolic load easing. It is the inflammation leaving your tissues. It is your heart and your arteries breathing a sigh of relief as the volume of fluid they have to pump begins to normalize. However, this massive release of water comes with a catch. As the water leaves, it takes essential minerals with it: sodium, potassium, and magnesium. This is the danger zone known as the sugar flu. You might feel a sudden wave of dizziness when you stand up. You might feel a strange muscle cramp or a fatigue that feels heavy in your bones. Many people fail here because they mistake this for a sign that they need sugar. They think their body is failing. But the truth is, your body doesn't need sugar. It needs salt. It needs minerals. A pinch of high-quality sea salt in your water, some leafy greens, or a sugar-free electrolyte drink can turn this around in minutes. If you support your chemistry during this flush, the rewards are immense. The depuffing effect intensifies. Your skin starts to look clearer because the stagnant fluid around your cells is being replaced by fresh, clean hydration. By day 6, the physical transformation is undeniable. You feel less congested in your own skin. But beneath this outward change, an even deeper shift is preparing to take place. Now that the excess water is gone, your body is looking for its next source of power. It has finished burning the easy fuel, and it is about to turn its attention to the deep, stored energy you've been carrying for years. The flush is over. The metabolic switch is about to begin. By day 7, the initial shock has passed. The rapid weight loss from the water flush is slowing down. You might think the hardest part is behind you, but your body is about to enter the true crucible of this journey. Welcome to the metabolic switch. Up until this point in your life, your body has operated on an easy, default power source. You have fueled your system with dry kindling. Sugar burns fast, it burns bright, and it leaves you constantly needing to throw another handful on the fire just to keep the lights on. But now, the kindling is gone. Your glycogen stores are nearly empty, and your body is forced to do something it may not have done since you were a child. It must learn to burn a heavier, denser fuel. It must learn to burn fat. This transition creates friction, and you are going to feel it in your head. Around day 7 or 8, a heavy, thick cloud rolls across your thoughts. This is not the physical fatigue of the sugar flu from a few days ago. This is peak brain fog. You might lose your train of thought mid-sentence. You might feel unmotivated or sluggish. Do not quit now. This fog is not a sign of failure. It is the physical sensation of your fuel system being completely rewritten from the inside out. Your brain is a massive energy consumer, and for decades, it has only spoken one metabolic language: glucose. Because you cut off the supply, your liver steps up to perform a brilliant evolutionary rescue mission called gluconeogenesis. It begins building fresh glucose from scratch, rationing it carefully like a lighthouse keeper preserving oil through a long, dark night. It ensures your most delicate red blood cells and vital brain regions have exactly what they need to survive. Meanwhile, deep inside your cells, your mitochondria are being forced to adapt. These microscopic power plants are ramping up their machinery to process a completely new energy source: fatty acids and ketones. Ketones are an incredibly clean, high-efficiency fuel. They burn without the massive oxidative stress that sugar leaves behind. But your neurons need a little time to accept this new currency. The fog you feel is simply the delay in translation. Then, something remarkable happens. Around day 9 or 10, the translation finally clicks. The heavy cloud doesn't just slowly drift away, it shatters. Suddenly, you wake up and the mental clarity is startling. As you go through your day, you notice a profound absence of something you used to accept as normal: the afternoon crash. You eat a meal, and instead of feeling a desperate need for a nap or a cup of coffee at 2 o'clock, your energy remains a flat, steady line. You have crossed the hardest threshold. You have rebuilt your metabolic flexibility. Your body has remembered how to survive without artificial spikes. And as your energy stabilizes, a much quieter, beautiful transformation is beginning to happen at the cellular level, changing the very way you age. By day 11, the war is over. You are no longer just surviving without sugar. You are thriving. And the first undeniable proof of this new reality happens right on your tongue. Do you remember the cravings from the first few days? That desperate, clawing need for a sugary treat? Now, you take a bite of a simple, everyday food, maybe a handful of almonds or a fresh apple, and something bizarre happens. It tastes incredibly rich. It tastes vibrant. It almost tastes too sweet. This is not your imagination. The sensory cells on your tongue operate on roughly a 10-day life cycle. For years, your taste buds were bombarded, overwhelmed, and completely numbed by artificial sweetness. They were forced to adapt to an impossible, unnatural standard. But over the last 11 days, those old, dulled receptors have faded away, and a brand new, highly sensitive generation has taken their place. Your palate has been reborn. Food suddenly has a beautiful depth and complexity because you are no longer blinded by a wall of industrial sugar. But this awakening goes far deeper than your mouth. It travels straight up your nervous system and into your brain. As you cross into day 12, the heavy fog from the metabolic switch is a distant memory. It has been replaced by a profound, razor-sharp mental clarity. With sugar out of the equation, your body triggers a massive surge in a powerful protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Scientists often refer to this protein as fertilizer for your mind. When chronic inflammation and insulin levels finally drop, this growth factor is allowed to flood your brain. It strengthens your neural synapses, protects healthy cells, and accelerates your ability to learn and retain information. You are not just awake. You are highly tuned. You process conversations faster. You handle stress with a calm, grounded energy, leaving behind the anxious, emotional roller coasters of your past. This is the ultimate hardware upgrade we talked about on day one. Your mind is truly glowing, and as your mind sharpens, your body begins to visibly reverse the clock. Welcome to day 13. When you look in the mirror now, you are seeing something much deeper than the simple loss of water weight from week 1. You are witnessing cellular healing. For years, every time you consumed excess sugar, that glucose would violently attach itself to proteins and fats in your bloodstream. This destructive chemical reaction is called glycation. It creates toxic compounds that act exactly like molecular rust inside your body. This rust attacks your collagen. It stiffens your elastin. It is the silent, invisible force behind premature aging, sagging skin, and chronic joint stiffness. But over the last 13 days, you stopped adding rust to the machine. Without fresh sugar to fuel this damage, your collagen fibers are finally breathing again. They are regaining their natural flexibility and bounce. The low-grade, systemic inflammation that caused those stubborn breakouts, the subtle puffiness, and the redness in your cheeks is rapidly cooling off. Your skin looks remarkably brighter and feels more elastic. Even your joints feel lighter and more fluid when you get out of bed in the morning. You are radiating a genuine, undeniable vitality. Your cells are repairing themselves because they are no longer spending all their energy fighting off a toxic burden. You have reached the peak of the physical transformation, and the final revelation, the true meaning of all this effort, is just one day away. Welcome to day 14. You have arrived. But as you stand here at the end of this 2-week journey, you will realize something profound. This is not a finish line. It is an entirely new baseline. Think back to those first 3 days. Remember the intense cravings, the phantom hunger, the feeling that you were fighting a daily war against your own mind? Today, that war is over. You are no longer white-knuckling your way past the dessert menu. You are no longer relying on sheer willpower to say no to sugar. The compulsion has faded. Because your insulin has stayed low, your brain can finally hear the hormone leptin clearly again. Leptin is your internal fullness signal, the quiet voice that tells you when you have had enough. You have won back the right to control your own appetite. You eat because your body genuinely requires nourishment, not because your brain is desperately chasing a dopamine high. These 14 days were never meant to be a harsh, punishing diet. They were a biological mirror. They simply reflected the true strength, resilience, and clarity your body possesses when you remove the chemical interference. You now know what it feels like to operate at your absolute best. But as you step into the future, we must talk about balance and safety. Science reminds us that a sudden metabolic reset demands respect. If you are managing diabetes, using insulin medications, or if you are battling severe chronic stress and high cortisol, cutting carbohydrates drastically should always be guided by a doctor. Your adrenal system needs support, and genuine health is never about putting your body in danger. The path ahead is not about living in fear of a single grain of sugar. Extreme obsession with perfect eating is just another form of being trapped. The true goal of this experiment was awareness. It was about finding moderation rather than permanent elimination. You now have the supreme power of choice. If you decide to enjoy a sweet treat tomorrow, you do it on your terms, with full clarity, without spiraling back into a cycle of dependence. You have rebuilt your biology. You are finally free.